It's a great pleasure to be here today with friends who share a vision for our country that protects and promotes faith, freedom, family, and opportunity. These have been the touchstones of my life and in my career. These are the values that motivated my parents to move their family across the world to America when, as Ralph mentioned, I was 8 years old. Faith, freedom, and opportunity are not abstract concepts for those who have experienced life without them. Faith enabled my family to face the challenges of being in a new land, learning a new language and a new culture with optimism, hope, and confidence. When we arrived in America, we didn't know anybody. It was our local church that welcomed us, gave us comfort and advice on how to maneuver through everyday life. Really simple things such as where to go to find the grocery store, where to go to find the basic necessities of life. Fellow church members also helped us to learn about American traditions and customs. We learned about barbecues, picnics, and the thrill of discovering that there was a wonderful place called the library that let us borrow books for free. And of course, on Sundays were devoted to gathering with fellow congregants in worship. Faith and opportunity allowed my parents to build a business and put 6 daughters through college. No, it's a lot. My sisters and I grew up so grateful for the opportunities that this country gave our family, and we are dedicated to contributing to this country in return. This administration is keeping the faith with the American people by working hard to increase opportunities for all. And among the most notable achievements so far was the president's success in working with Congress to pass meaningful tax reform. And you should clap because it was based on a very basic fundamental precept that if you want to empower the people, rather than the government, let the people keep more of the money that they earn. American families received $3.2 trillion in gross tax cuts and saw the child tax credit double. This action by President Trump and this Congress yielded immediate positive results for the economy and for middle-class Americans. This administration is also diligently addressing the problem of unnecessary and overly burdensome regulations that do real economic harm. Last year, the big news, if you recall, was the administration's 2-for-1 regulatory mandate. For every one new regulation, departments across the government were supposed to eliminate 2 old ones. Well, in 2018, the Department of Transportation is well on its way to achieving a 6-to-1 ratio. We basically eliminate 6 old regulations for every new one. And under the previous administration, the Department of Transportation increased the regulatory cost on job creators by an average of nearly $3 billion a year. Last year, under President Trump, the department reduced regulatory costs by $312 million alone just in our department. So the Department of Transportation is on track to reduce regulatory costs by an additional $500 million or more in 2018. And in fact, it looks like that we're going to surpass $1 billion in net cost savings this year. So. And that is why the Mercatus Institute has named the Department of Transportation #1 in the administration for decreasing regulatory burdens. And the American Action Forum recently announced that the Department of Transportation has already initiated over 100 deregulatory actions, the most of any cabinet or agency in the government by far. Consequently, it is no coincidence that after a sluggish 8 years, America's economy is finally on a trajectory of strong economic growth. That means more prosperity and more jobs for more Americans. Consumer confidence has hit a 17-year high. 3 million new jobs have been created in the last year alone. And in May 2018, the unemployment rate fell to 3.8%, the lowest in almost 50 years. And this includes 304,000 new manufacturing jobs and 337,000 new construction jobs. Gallup reports that a record 67% of Americans believe that now is a great time to find a quality job. And in fact, today there are more job openings than there are unemployed Americans, something that has never before occurred as long as these statistics have been measured. Regulatory reform at the Department of Transportation has been achieved without compromising safety, which is my #1 priority. My other top priorities are to make progress in addressing our country's infrastructure needs and preparing for the future by promoting safety without hampering innovation. Our country is on the cusp of a transportation revolution, and new technologies will one day transform the way we travel and connect with one another. Self-driving vehicles, autonomous vehicles, drones, and other transportation innovations have the potential to improve safety by addressing human error. And they will increase access to transportation for the elderly and people with disabilities. But there are legitimate concerns about this new technology as well. A majority of Americans tell pollsters that they're unwilling or hesitant to ride in self-driving cars. They worry about safety and privacy. So I have challenged Silicon Valley and others innovating in this arena. They have an obligation to help educate the American public of the benefits of this emerging technology, but also address these legitimate concerns about safety, security, and privacy. And as a former Secretary of Labor, I'm also concerned about the impact these new technologies will have on jobs. Now, I'm confident in the long term, new technologies create jobs. But the transition period can be difficult for dislocated workers. So this needs to be addressed as these technologies are increasingly deployed. This department is not taking the typical Washington-centered approach toward transportation innovation. We will cultivate and encourage the safe innovation by eliminating unnecessary obstacles to the development and integration of new technology. Our approach is going to be tech-neutral and flexible, not top-down, not command and control. Stakeholders and the private sector marketplace, not bureaucrats, will decide. So recently, we had the new drone integration program that was established to set up partnerships between local communities and drone operators. Because currently, drones can't fly at night, they can't fly above the heads of people or beyond the line of sight of the operator. So on May 9th, the department announced 10 communities that were selected to participate in this drone pilot program. And we're going to see how this program goes. Likewise, the department provided voluntary, not mandatory guidelines for autonomous vehicles when we unveiled new guidelines last September. And technology is changing so rapidly that work is already underway for AV 3.0, a vision for safety, which we will release later this summer. So much is going on within the department. America's transportation infrastructure is vital to advancing our economy and our quality of life, and it always has been. I want you to have confidence that this administration will continue to promote the safe, efficient, and effective use of our transportation infrastructure, and that you can rely upon this administration to do the right thing. In closing, I want to thank all of you, because you actually give us hope. You give us confidence, because you indeed are in the front guard, the vanguard of ensuring that freedom, faith, and opportunity continue to be preserved, protected, and thus prevail in America. Thank you so much, and God bless you all. Thank you. Thank you. Hi.